We have breaking updates. Breaking updates. Very important. There's a reason why the public has shifted from being a little skeptical of Justin Baldoni to basically just rooting outright for Justin Baldoni at this point. If you can't avoid this movie, you absolutely should, because it's absolute trash. I know some people like this movie. Some people are stupid. Oops.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tina. Okay, so Ryan Reynolds is the kind of Hollywood star who seems to have it all. He's got the charm, the quick wit, the blockbuster roles, and, if the rumor mill is to be believed, a certain knack for stirring up hidden drama behind the scenes. From surprising reports about pressuring a well-known director to shape a movie in a specific way, to being called out for his comedic style by an outspoken critic, Reynolds' off-screen life may have more intrigue than any of his big-screen adventures. Lately, people can't stop talking about these backstage anecdotes, and it's not just fans who are tuning in. The commentary has grown loud enough to draw in big names like Ben Shapiro.
Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni saga. I know, people are really into this, like really into this.
What's so special about Ryan Reynolds? On the surface, he's the wisecracking hero of crowd favorites, beloved for his unique brand of humor. But once you dig deeper, you find a swirl of rumors involving high-profile figures. There's talk of his wife, Blake Lively, and even their famous friend Taylor Swift, flexing some muscle to influence the direction of an entire movie. It might sound like a scene ripped from the tabloids, but plenty of insiders swear it's more than idle gossip.
Since I've been involved in this case, I've gotten 50 either texts or emails or things to my firm's website, more than 50 actually, about this was my experience with Blake Lively. We weren't allowed to talk to her on the set. We weren't allowed to ask for an autograph. We were, instructed, this way or that. We were treated like this. I mean, and these things aren't coming because we're doing an investigation. These are completely organic. These are based on people's real life experiences. In fact, we've come across evidence that shows that even her own representatives knew that she was threatening and mean and tough and wanted to get her way. This is not something that we wanted out there. It's not something that Justin wanted out there. In fact, it hurts the movie. It doesn't help the movie. And Justin knew that.
When a controversy like this touches not just one, but multiple household names, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, and even a well-respected director named Justin Baldoni, well then everyone starts paying attention. Add to that a scathing review from Ben Shapiro about Reynolds' comedic approach, and you have the recipe for a viral talking point. The deeper question is whether Reynolds is steering the creative ship with a heavy hand or just being the playful, improvisational actor everyone recognizes on screen. Before we get to the heart of these puzzling claims, let's rewind and see how all these puzzle pieces fit together. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe, because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. The first kernel of controversy sprouted when whispers emerged about Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift collectively pressuring filmmaker Justin Baldoni to make changes to a movie script.
And then she went and complained about it by attacking him and trying to wreck him, because she apparently was at one point in a room with her, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift trying to bully Justin Baldoni to make changes to the script for this movie.
I want to know more about the presence of Taylor Swift, who sort of leads this mean girl clique. There was a thing happening over the summer that the Daily Mail reported on where there were other female artists such as Billie Eilish who were releasing albums in the sort of tailwinds of her last release. She was manipulating all of her new releases to keep these women from hitting #1. This is who she runs with, and that tells me everything. And I just, to sit there and have your husband bully your director.
Yes.
If you don't like this, have the balls to do it yourself.
Right.
Don't have your husband throw his weight around.
With your husband, that's so weird. Like your husband who's Ryan Reynolds. Of course it was a threat.
And in your penthouse, on your home turf, using your wealth as leverage.
Right.
Showing off.
And your friend Taylor.
And your friend Taylor, who's what is she doing there? Is she just scrolling Instagram?
One of my dragons.
What is she, that is just wild.
Using exactly these tactics against Justin Baldoni, apparently. That turned out to be a bad tactic.
It wasn't one of those overnight rumors that fizzle out quickly. Instead, it seemed to pick up steam with each passing day. To many people, the idea that an actress and her celebrity circle could shape a film's creative direction was shocking. Sure, stars give input all the time, but the alleged level of influence here was a whole different beast. The story goes that Baldoni's original vision for the film clashed with notes offered by Lively and her well-connected circle, who supposedly had strong opinions about the script's tone and direction. Some say they wanted lighter comedic elements. Others claim they were pushing for deeper, dramatic arcs. In any case, the rumor mill insisted that Baldoni had felt external pressure, an unspoken but powerful nudge that made him think twice before finalizing certain scenes.
So, what is the latest update? Well, it turns out that Blake Lively was caught on tape talking about how she manipulates people around her in order to take control of the movies upon which she works.
This is important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the in the room? Like, what is happening here? I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that like that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just like be an actor. Like I want to have more authorship.
Oh my God. And then she did exactly that to Justin Baldoni, apparently. Like that's literally the accusation as to what happened. So first of all, let me point out to Blake Lively, you are an actress. Unless you signed on as a producer or a director, there's literally no reason why your creative input should matter. You're an actor. If you want to write your own script, you should go write your own script. If you want to sign on to a movie with the understanding that you're going to actually make script changes, then great. But if the idea is that you sign on as an actor and then you turn around and try to take control of the script, this makes you a jerk. Right? Like at the very, very least.
To be clear, these allegations swirling around internet forums, celebrity news blogs, and the commentary of people who like to dissect everything a star might do, and a top-notch lawyer that put everything up on a website for the world to see.
My entire career, it's the one case we're going to put every single text message, every single document, everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own conclusions, and they can determine whether or not there was sexual harassment here, there was a smear campaign, or there was retaliation, because we have proof and receipts that absolutely and unequivocally show this is not true.
The chatter alone reveals something about the public perception of Ryan Reynolds and his circle. People admire Reynolds' comedic persona and trust Taylor Swift's gut when it comes to capturing an audience's heart, but there's a suspicion that these star-studded opinions can overshadow a director's own plan for a film. What does this mean for Baldoni? Well, if these accounts are to be taken seriously, he ended up in a tough spot. On one hand, he's responsible for the final product. On the other, it's not every day you find yourself juggling the viewpoints of an Hollywood power couple and an international pop sensation. Even if the rumored suggestions were well-intentioned, the tension around who calls the shots remains a hot topic. But no controversy stands alone, especially in Hollywood. While rumors of creative power plays were making the rounds, another storyline was unraveling that placed Ryan Reynolds in the center of an entirely different storm. That story takes shape in the bold opinions of Ben Shapiro, who didn't hold back on his feelings about Reynolds' work in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I know some people like this movie. Some people are stupid. This movie is bad. It is a bad movie. Every joke is too long. It's the same joke over and over, which is some sort of like strange homoeroticism between Deadpool and Wolverine, mainly from Deadpool toward Wolverine. The plot makes zero sense at all. It's 8 hours long. It's just terrible. Again, apparently people sort of love this movie because they thought that it was kind of just wisecracking Ryan Reynolds doing his thing. But every line is ad-libbed and not particularly well. It is just a bunch of jokes about the male appendage.
If you're at all familiar with Ben Shapiro, you know he's not shy about stating his views, even if those views ruffle some feathers. So when he decided to share his candid thoughts on the film Deadpool and Wolverine, the internet braced for a tidal wave of heated discussion. According to Shapiro, the movie was too long, jam-packed with repetitive jokes, and lacking any real plot. In his words, some people like this movie. Some people are stupid. Subtle? Not exactly. Shapiro's main gripe centers on Ryan Reynolds' comedic style. He believes Reynolds relies far too heavily on ad-libbing, turning what could be a clever storyline into a string of random wisecracks. In a typical comedy, off-the-cuff humor can give a movie an authentic spark. But Shapiro argues that Deadpool and Wolverine took it to the extreme, losing all sense of structure as the characters tripped over witty remarks, one after the other. Another bone of contention for Shapiro was what he perceived as filler. Where the average viewer might have seen fun banter, Shapiro saw endless tangents that served no purpose but to elongate the film. He wasn't fond of the comedic tone either, suggesting that many jokes were just repeating the same vibe, especially those that played on a certain tension between Deadpool and Wolverine. The critic in Shapiro found little to praise. He even admitted he watched the movie on a plane, complaining that it turned a cramped flight into a tedious experience.
So, I had the misfortune a couple of months ago of being on a plane and looking for a movie to watch and settling on Deadpool versus Wolverine. As I've said before, my first advice as a lawyer to all possible clients, don't do criming on tape. Criming on tape is stupid and bad, and don't do it. It's not a crime to do this, but it does make it look a little suspicious.
What does this have to do with Ryan Reynolds' bigger story? Well, Shapiro's critique isn't just about one film. It's a spotlight on Reynolds' comedic brand. Quick-witted one-liners sprinkled throughout a production, possibly overshadowing the bigger narrative. Though Shapiro's thoughts don't speak for everyone, they do raise questions about whether Reynolds' signature comedic style is wearing thin. Is it still fresh, or is it starting to feel formulaic? At this point, some people might say, well, that's just Shapiro being Shapiro. But interestingly enough, his perspective triggered a wave of online debate. Plenty of fans rushed to defend Reynolds, praising him for consistently delivering movies where humor is king. Others, however, nodded along with Shapiro's criticisms, pointing out that comedic repetition can indeed dull a film's impact. But the conversation didn't stop at comedic style. Shapiro noticed something else in Deadpool and Wolverine, a quirky character that seemed like a direct nod to a real-life figure. Suddenly, the saga circled right back to Justin Baldoni.
This movie has now also become rather notorious because there's a character called Nicepool, who apparently is a spoof of Justin Baldoni. He looks like Justin Baldoni, he talks like Justin Baldoni. He's actually was Justin Baldoni's character, apparently.
Still, the buzz around this controversy goes beyond simple comedic preference. Some folks questioned whether repeatedly leaning on innuendo might overshadow the story's potential emotional arcs or plot twists. And while Deadpool's entire shtick is breaking the fourth wall and being irreverent, there's a fine line between well-timed jokes and comedic overkill. But hold on, this is Ryan Reynolds we're talking about, the man who practically built his career on comedic banter. It's possible that Shapiro's critiques simply highlight a divide between audiences who can't get enough of Deadpool's outrageous humor and those who think it's run its course. When you consider everything swirling around Ryan Reynolds, rumors of exerting influence on a film set, questions about comedic style, and claims of a secret jab at another director, things start to look more tangled than anyone expected. Just when you think you've heard it all, you discover a detail that adds another layer to the conversation, leaving viewers wondering if there's more going on behind closed doors. This character has more than a passing resemblance to Baldoni. Everything from his mannerisms to the way he speaks is suspiciously on the nose.
What Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
Sorry about that. Come here, girl. Who are you? Oh, I'm Deadpool. And I guess you're Deadpool too. But in here, everybody calls me Nicepool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Ladypool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminine.
The moment Nicepool strolled into a scene, Shapiro's antenna went up. While average moviegoers might not immediately spot the connection, Shapiro found it uncanny, implying the creative team behind the movie was winking at anyone aware of the rumors swirling around Baldoni. Now, was this a friendly nod, a lighthearted tribute, or a jab at Baldoni's alleged experiences with Reynolds' circle? The opinions online run the gamut. What's important here is that Justin Baldoni himself hasn't publicly acknowledged this so-called parody. For all we know, he could be completely unbothered by it, or perhaps it flew under his radar. After all, cameo jokes and pop culture references are no stranger to Deadpool's brand of humor. But for watchers tracking the rumored tension between Baldoni and Reynolds' circle, Nice Pool adds another question. Did the movie poke fun at Baldoni's gentle demeanor, or was it purely a playful cameo not directed at anyone in particular? But any brand, no matter how beloved, risks stagnation if it never evolves. Shapiro's critique of Deadpool and Wolverine casts a spotlight on whether Reynolds' comedic approach is showing signs of wear and tear. Are audiences growing tired of the same brand of off-the-cuff humor? Or is Shapiro in the minority here, failing to appreciate the comedic genius others still adore? It doesn't help that controversies like the Nice Pool cameo feed speculation about how personal grudges or real-life dynamics might sneak their way onto the screen. People wonder if the creative process behind these blockbuster films is overshadowed by personal jokes or private agendas. For the most part, Reynolds has kept things lighthearted and unaddressed in interviews, possibly preferring that the rumors remain just that, rumors. The big question is, where does Ryan Reynolds go from here? Hollywood loves to see a rising star, but it also loves to scrutinize every move that star makes. If Reynolds really did influence Justin Baldoni's project, then we're talking about a powerful sway that extends far beyond comedic ad-libs on set. Combine that with rumors that Blake Lively and Taylor Swift also weighed in, and you have a trifecta of high-profile voices that could reshape any film's trajectory. It's also worth considering the broader culture of Hollywood. Many actors and directors have faced accusations about behind-the-scenes power plays. Sometimes it's a matter of creative passion. Other times, it's more about ego. In Reynolds' case, fans might argue that his comedic instincts are so strong that he genuinely believes he's improving the work. Detractors might say it's narcissism, a conviction that he knows better than the professionals hired to craft the narrative. Then there's the notion of comedic censorship, even if it's self-imposed. Could criticisms from people like Shapiro trigger a shift in how Reynolds approaches his humor? Perhaps he'll decide to branch out into more serious roles, shedding the wisecracking persona for a while. Or maybe he'll dig in his heels and deliver an even bigger helping of tongue-in-cheek jabs the next time around. After all, controversy sometimes translates into ticket sales, and Reynolds is a savvy marketer who's no stranger to leveraging buzz for attention. On top of all this, the swirl of controversies involving Hollywood elites naturally invites speculation about future collaborations. Will Justin Baldoni be open to working with Reynolds or Lively again if there was indeed friction? Will Swift align with Reynolds for a future project, given they've shown friendly ties publicly? It's a web of relationships that can shape careers for years to come. And the bigger these celebrities get, the more the world watches their every move, picking up on subtle hints, analyzing social media interactions, and scrutinizing on-set behavior. In the end, the conversations around Ryan Reynolds, comedic overkill, and alleged behind-the-scenes influence may only scratch the surface of a larger phenomenon: the power of A-listers in an industry driven by star power and box office returns. It's not always a neat, simple story. Instead, it's a puzzle, with each new rumor or revelation adding another piece to the board. Whether that puzzle forms a flattering portrait of Reynolds or something far more complicated remains to be seen. So, where do we land after hearing about script pressures, biting film critiques, and cameo controversies that may or may not be subtle digs at well-known directors? The short answer is that Ryan Reynolds stands at the center of a swirl of debates, each one raising fresh questions about the nature of Hollywood stardom. Some see Reynolds as a comedic force of nature, uniquely capable of revitalizing any role he takes on with his quick wit and improvisational genius. Others worry that he's become too reliant on the same comedic bag of tricks, overshadowing storytelling with endless banter. Meanwhile, the rumors of Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Taylor Swift steering the direction of a Justin Baldoni project remain intriguing. Whether you see it as a group of passionate creatives offering input or a display of star power overshadowing the director's vision, it underscores one undeniable truth. Hollywood is a place where lines often blur. Sometimes the biggest headlines aren't about the movie itself, but about who shaped it behind the scenes. Ben Shapiro's critiques underscore this point by reminding audiences that success doesn't shield anyone from harsh reviews. Even an actor like Reynolds can fall under scrutiny, especially if critics sense a pattern in his work. When you add the possibility of a playful Nice Pool cameo referencing Justin Baldoni, It's clear that the lines between personal relationships and on-screen content can be more fluid than we imagine. Ultimately, the question is less about whether Ryan Reynolds will face any lasting damage from these controversies, and more about how he'll continue to evolve in the public eye. Will the comedic style that propelled him to superstardom adapt to the changing tastes of audiences? Will the behind-the-scenes rumors fade, or will they keep fueling chatter and ruin everything he's worked for to build his career? Ben Shapiro's critiques underscore this point by reminding audiences that success doesn't shield anyone from harsh reviews. Even an actor like Reynolds can fall under scrutiny, especially if critics sense a pattern in his work. When you add the possibility of a playful Nice Pool cameo referencing Justin Baldoni, it's clear that the lines between personal relationships and on-screen content can be more fluid than we imagine. Ultimately, the question is less about whether Ryan Reynolds will face any lasting damage from these controversies, and more about how he'll continue to evolve in the public eye. Will the comedic style that propelled him to superstardom adapt to the changing tastes of audiences? Will the behind-the-scenes rumors fade, or will they keep fueling chatter and ruin everything he's worked for to build his career? So the next time you catch Ryan Reynolds on screen, remember the swirling rumors, the comedic critiques, and the possible behind-the-scenes power moves. Ask yourself whether you're simply laughing at the jokes or questioning if there's more going on beneath that cool, irreverent persona. Because in Hollywood, there's almost always more to the story than meets the eye. And Ryan Reynolds' story seems to be growing worse, more tangled, and definitely more entertaining with every new chapter. And there you have it. From behind-the-scenes power plays to unexpected cameos and fierce critiques, Ryan Reynolds' story seems to have more twists than any blockbuster he's ever starred in. Will these controversies change how we see him, or are they just another chapter in Hollywood's endless book of rumors? Maybe it's a little of both. One thing's certain, as long as Ryan Reynolds keeps up his signature brand of wit, and as long as people keep talking, this is one saga that won't be fading to black anytime soon. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love to hear your opinions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on your favorite celeb tea. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.